Hey everyone, if this is your first time seeing one of my videos, thank you for visiting. If you've been here before, welcome back. You can see actually we're doing this from my home office slash gym slash bedroom, which is probably, anyone that's lived through the last couple of years probably has a room just like this. We're just going to walk through one of my products, two different templates, but the same one, just one built in Excel, one built in Google Sheets today. You can kind of consider this if you've bought this item and you're viewing this from the purchase that you made. This is an inventory tracker walkthrough. If you found us on Etsy and you're looking at this listing and you found this link, or if you're just kind of browsing YouTube or Instagram or Facebook and come across this, we're going to walk through a real basic inventory tracker spreadsheet that we have that's on sale right now, or it's for sale right now on my my Etsy page. I'm looking at it right now. But we're just going to walk through it. We're going to walk piece by piece, show you all the different pieces, show you some of the nice items, and then kind of show what the listing is. And what we'll do is we'll put the listing in the description as well, and we'll show it on the page here as we wrap up today. So if we go ahead, let me change to my screen here. This is kind of the front page, going just from the top to the bottom. The first little part in yellow at the top, company name. You can enter your company name and it'll kind of go throughout the rest of the page. Current month end, current fiscal year end. Those are things to set up to review things like current month sales, year to date sales. Helps you kind of do some of the general mathematics across the board. So like I said, just little things to set up. The current fiscal year's in there because I have realized over time that not everyone runs on a fiscal year end of December 31. Some people in fact work on 6/30, 9/30 or something else. And so, I want you to be able to have the flexibility to set this to whatever your business's fiscal year is. Now going down here, I know it looks like there's a lot of information. However, one of the nice things is for all the information, you only have really 3 places you need to fill out on this page. Everything else, the math is being done for you. So the first area, general information, this blue or gray, depending on what you're seeing on your screen, this area, this is really the only place you got to input information on this page. First one, item, you can see I've kind of filled them out with some default just names. But item 1 through 20, just kind of put whatever you're calling your item, put it in there. If you have kind of like an SKU or a code you're calling them to keep track of them, put that in here. Descriptions available if you want to put a more detailed description of what you're selling. Things like color, size, dimensions, things like that. And then the refill amount. And the refill amount is supposed to be kind of, when you get to your quantity on hand being below this number, this is when you need to make more or buy more, whatever, depending on what you're doing out there. So once we get past there, we start getting to some of the things that are calculated. So the first one we're going to look at is status. And status really just says, listen, I'm going to look at, if the quantity on hand is higher than the refill amount, it's going to call it in stock. And you can see item 1, there's 27 on hand. The refill amount's 10. It says it's in stock. If we look at item 2, you can see it has a quantity on hand of 92, and the refill amount is 120. It's saying, hey, you really need to buy more so you don't run out. If this would go to 0, just to show you that, you can actually see it goes to out of stock. Let me do that real quick. Also, one of the nice things, or just to show you here that the interactions, like I said, if I change this to 50, it's going to say, yep, this is in stock now as well. So this is just something to kind of help you kind of look at what you have and say, hey, you're good, or hey, you need to buy more. Quantity on hand is simply calculated based off how many sales or purchases you've had, what's your value. And that's coming off another tab at the bottom called the register. Let me just move. You can see here there is the register. Now let me bring this back up here. If we go to that tab, this is the register, which is really just a table of transactions for you to input. We'll go through more detail on this here in just a little bit. But really it's taking all of the transactions off of this sheet and it's calculating, all the quantity you have on hand. So it's taking all the times you've finished something, purchased something, and it's taking that information and saying, here's what your quantity on hand is based off all those transactions, your purchases, minus your sales, plus or minus any adjustments you made for, you broke one, you lost one, things like that. It's doing just kind of that quick math for you. Sales value on hand is just doing the math of, based on how many you have on hand and what the average sale price is for that you've sold it. This is how much sales value you have. The same for cost on hand is the same. It's taking the average cost of what you've made or what you've bought and saying, this is how much on average cost you have. Now, kind of that bottom number there, it's kind of like, hey, if you sold everything you have today and didn't refill a thing, this is what your profit is. This is actually something that I think Etsy or eRank, one of them, gives you information on as well on one of their diagnostics. Average sale price is just doing the math on every time you sell it. This is the average unit sale price you're selling it for, and the average cost, and then your average profit as well as your profit margin. And let me just move those since you can't see that. There's your average cost, there's your average profit, and there's your average cost, there's your average profit, and the profit percentage. Now, if we keep moving over, you can see here current month sales, profit, and movement. So really, this is just doing, based off those parameters of what month you say you're ending in. This is just showing your total sales today, your cost on those, average cost on those, and your profit margin. It's also showing you how many you've sold and how many you've purchased. And I think those are kind of important things because you also, it's good to have purchases on stock. You don't want to overspend for things that aren't moving. And so this kind of gives you a little bit of that analytic. Current year sales, profit, and movement. This is one of the areas that gets adjusted depending on what you're putting in for your fiscal year end. So this will do, the full year based off your fiscal year that you put at the top. But again, it's just doing the same math of here's what you've sold, here's the cost on it, here's the profit, and here's sort of your quantity sold or your purchases made. Again, like I said, nice data points to have as you're looking at your business. And then the last one there in the orange, that is the monthly average sales profits movement. And all that's doing is taking that current year-to-date information, dividing by how many months you are through the year to give you kind of, here's your monthly average sales, here's your average profits, here's on average what you're selling and what you're buying. And one of the reasons I put this here so that you can actually compare it to what your current month is. So you can see how this month's performance was compared to kind of your average going forward. So that's kind of those ones. Like I said, all this information is calculated just solely based off what's in the register. But like I said, we'll get to the register here in just a little bit. So if we keep moving down, if we go to the item details, this is probably one of my favorite schedules because, for me personally, I get a lot of information out of something like this. And what this is showing is it's showing each month for the last 12 months. It's showing your sales, showing your quantity sold, your average sale price, your purchases, the quantity of the purchases that you've done, and your average purchase price. And then it's kind of showing you the same data points in chart form. First one showing you the bar chart. The bar part of this chart showing you, your general sales volume by, dollar, pound, euro, whatever your currency is. It's also showing, your units sold on the line chart. Purchases are doing the same thing, but it's doing it based off the purchase price and the quantity you've purchased. And then this last one over here, let me scroll. This is probably my favorite one and the one that I look at the most, especially right now. And we're going to talk about this for just a minute. This is showing your average sale price versus your average purchase price. If you're doing well, you always want to make sure that blue chart or the blue bar is higher than the orange bar. And if that orange bar starts to creep closer to that blue bar, you might want to reprice and try and, if you can, sell your item for a little bit more than what you're doing. I said the reason I like this is because it shows trends as you're going. It shows, are you able to sell your item for more as you go? Are you having to give it a discount more and not selling it for as much? And also same thing, especially, if you're looking at this recently when this is put on, this is being put on here during 2022, inflation's concern. If you're a small business and you're seeing rising costs of what you're buying or making, this here will show is your average purchase price or the price it takes to finish your product, is that going up? And is that trend going up? And if it is, you'll see that here. And that gives you a little bit of warning ahead of time about maybe changing that sale price to get it a little higher. And so that you don't necessarily eat away at your own profits. Again, like I said, this is one of my favorite charts. And one of the reasons I really like it is because this is interactive. If you see this drop down, you can select any item and you see that the information actually changes. And also, this thing will change if I change this month. Let's go back a month. Down here, you can actually see, now the months change. So it's showing just the last 12 months, which I think is just a really, really helpful process overall. That's really all the graphics and summary I give here. Like I said, I don't put I said, I want to give you exactly the data points that I feel like would be helpful. I don't want to give you a lot of more bells and whistles to just confuse it if I don't feel like it's helpful. Now, like I said, this is just based off my personal business, running my own shop, and also working for about a dozen years in the manufacturing industry. These are the things that I've generally used. There's probably some other people much smarter than I, and you're probably one of them that may use some other data points or want to see other things. And if that's the case, and if there's a piece of information that this doesn't provide you, even before or after purchase, reach out to me and I'll see if I can add it on here. There's not a lot of things that I can't do and can't do quickly. If we go to the next page and the next tab, and like I said, there's 3 tabs at the bottom. Let me just adjust the screen so you can see them. We're now in the monthly data tab. And what this is, let me adjust that screen a little bit. There we go. Is it's really just showing month by month. It's just showing kind of how your sales are going. So, showing, dollar value or whatever your currency value sold. It's showing the quantity sold, total amount you've purchased, your, dollar value or currency value of what you purchased, and the quantity you've purchased of those. And that's really it. Like I said, pretty simple. And then across the bottom here, let me scroll over. You can see you have year to date for all those same things. Like I said, pretty basic tab. I'm not going to really spend more time than what I just have on it. And then last one here. This is the register. And like I said, you can see here, there's already a bunch of transactions because I wanted you to see some data points. But some of the things I'll show you, just you enter the date, what type of purchase it is. If you're selling it, it's a sale. If it's a purchase or you're finishing a product, it's a purchase. An adjustment sort of, oh man, I broke one or whatever, and or I lost one, or I have more than what I thought, and you put the adjustment in there as well. And then, the item, and like I said, these are all drop downs to make it a little easier for you to select your item. And then your customer right there, which is also really helpful. Like I said, this you don't have to have this in here. This is sort of, hey, if I need something to kind of help me with a little bit of extra information, you can put that there. You also have the quantity and the amount. Now, the amount is the total amount you've bought or the total amount that you sold. It's not the unit. Just to be clear, it is not the unit amount or unit cost. It's the sale price, total sales amount, total purchase amount, or the adjustment amount. You'll see here in a minute. So, like I said, that's the register. And this thing, like I said, all of the stuff that you see on this page over here on all these tables is just written off of the transactions you enter here. And like I said, very, very simple to use. Now, while we're here, what I want to actually do is we're going to go to my Google Sheet version, because like I said, this is actually 2 versions. One is an Excel and one is a Google Sheet, because I know people use different ones. You can actually see I've been playing this one a little bit, but this one really doesn't have any information in it. And actually, let me just take this information out. I was kind of playing with this beforehand. Let me take these out. So, right now you see, really, other than this one, I don't have really anything in here. But like I said, we're going to walk through a transaction. We're going to walk through one of these just to show you kind of how the thing automates. So, like I said, I've put a refill amount here of item 1. If I go to the register, tab at the bottom, I'm going to put in a transaction for today, 5/26/2022. And let's say I'm going to buy a bunch of item 1. And I'm going to buy, let's say, 30 of them. And I'm going to spend $300 on it. And you can see now the information's in there. If I go over to the inventory detail, you can now see, I have quantity on hand of 30. I have a cost on hand of 300 and average cost. And right now it's showing that I have a negative profit because I've not sold any yet. You can also see down here, you can see the information starting to input there. Now, let's go ahead and input, another one. And let's just say sale. And let's say that I sold it. Let's say I sold 10 of them, and I sold those 10 for $150. If I go over here again, you can see now I have a quantity in hand 20 because I've sold. The sales value on hand is actually now doing math because we have an average sale price to look at. And it's actually has an average, already had the average cost, but showing the average profit, the profit percentage. You can actually see across here now, you can see, we have sales values, cost values, profit values across there. It's filling out all the other kind of mathematical pieces that we have, which is, like I said, nice to have. Sorry, my phone just went off. And then you can also see down here, we actually have some information being filled out as well. And so, like I said, everything kind of gets, pretty much automatically filled out as you go. Like I said, it's not hard to use this one. One of the goals I have is to make these things work really easy for you. Now, let's say you have more than 20 items, or actually, let's first say that you change an item. Let me change this one back to item 2. Let's say, item 2. Like I said, let's say that you want to rename these, which you're going to want to. Let's say item 3 is, half-inch bolt. That's kind of a silly way to write that, but let's just, for now, let's do that. Just to show you what happens in this drop down, now we see this actually says half-inch bolt. And in the drop down, you also have that now. Now, one critical piece you should know is you want to enter these names and keep these names built before you start entering transactions, because if you put a bunch of stuff in as a certain name and then go in and change that name, all the calculations across here won't work right. It's that name kind of, you set that name and that name's got to stay there, or else you're going to have to change all the names that you've already entered here in this item. And so that's just a little warning. One other thing, and I had a different profit and loss template I had a while back, and someone asked, hey, can you show how to add a row? So I'm going to do that right now. If you go in here, you say insert one row above. You go to actually the next row right below item 20, or to the last item that you have. Say insert one row above, or however many. If you need 5, say insert 5. If you're doing it in the Excel, let me go to the Excel. If you're doing Excel, you just go to the bottom one here, and you say, insert right there. Let me get back to the Google Sheet since I'm working in the Google Sheet now. And then you just say, item 21. Now, something really important is across all of these boxes, you want to drag, left click and drag, and get all this highlighted. And if you see right here where this little blue box is, you want to left click and drag and pull that down so that you can do that. That automatically brings all those formulas that were above here. It brought them all down. And then also these auto sum down, so they're still good there. So you're still going to total at the bottom. Now, just to show you that this worked, if we go to here, nope, and I just realized, let me scroll down a little bit so you can see it. You can see now you have, let me scroll down a little more. There we go. Now you can see there's item 21. So the drop downs automatically get it. And if you go to the register and see there, you can see you have item 21. It automatically adds it to it. The only other thing you will need to do is you will need to go here in that same kind of left click and drag and drop. You'll need to insert a row like you had already, that I already inserted there. Here you actually want to go say insert one row above, and you want to pull and drag down this formula each time. Let me do that for each one of the tables. And so I'm just doing this left click, or dragging left, getting all this highlighted, and then I'm dragging down. And so that's how you do it. That is, generally speaking, that's how this template works. That's, like I said, that's sort of the run of the tutorial. Like I said, we'll have this right now. Let me show this on the internet here. Right now, this is on our shop at Simple Excel Solutions. This is on there for $5.20. The Excel one and the Google Sheet are the same price. Let me show you the Google Sheet one. Like I said, they're the exact same price. We don't sell one for more than the other. Like I said, I'll put the link for these in the description below. And like I said, while you're there, take a look at our shop. We got a lot of other listings. We have products. We have just kind of a straight up product sales tracker, similar to this, but doesn't do quantity on hand. And then we have a lot of different order tracker, invoice trackers, invoices, bookkeeping templates, just kind of the run of the gambit here. I know you can't see them all there, but think about just perusing through there. We'll set just a link to the shop as well in there. But that is it. Like I said, I hope that worked for you. I hope that is something that, like I said, if you've bought this, thank you for the purchase. I hope that gives you a real nice walk down of how to use this template, kind of just in a day-to-day setting. If you, like I said, you found us through kind of looking for some sort of Excel solution or Google Sheet solution for how to do inventory. I hope this works. I'm going to answer this now right here before I go to the end, because someone out there is going to maybe look at this and ask this question: why is this on average cost and not FIFO cost? The reason being is I have spent months trying to figure out how to do FIFO inventory and FIFO cost of goods sold in Excel or Google templates. And what I can tell you is at least without macro or coding in Visual Basic, I have not found a solution that actually works. I found one solution that works for one item, but not for something that is for multiple items, which, I don't know of a lot of people who are only selling one product. Most people are at least selling 2 or 3 or 4 products at minimum. And so, I hope one day to make a FIFO cost of goods sold, FIFO quantity on hand inventory tracker. I've yet to find one, which is one of the reasons why, if we were going through that, if you were seeing average costs all over the place or average cost on hand, that's why. I've yet to find an easy way to do FIFO. I'm sure someone smarter than me has done it. They just haven't published how to do it yet. I've seen one version, and like I said, you couldn't make it out of multiple items. It was one item only. So that is it. Like I said, thank you for going through this. This is one of our, honestly, kind of one of our longer tutorials, but there was a lot of stuff to go through. And honestly, I want to walk step by step. So if that you bought this, you have no issues with your product when you start using it. I hope you have a great day. Hope this was helpful. Even if you don't buy my product, I hope that you were able to see some of the formulas up at the top to maybe see how we made it if you want to make it on your own. So have a great evening, guys, and we will see you soon.